All right, Din, take her off.
Oh, it's going to be a great stream. Hello everyone. I think we're live. It's TLA. We're probably watching an ad right now. So I might wait a second because there are ads right now. Anyway, it's TLA. It's hosted by myself, Den, and the rest, who I'll introduce in a sec. We've got a beautiful guest as always, the resident and theory master himself, Andilex on the flex. Andy, would you like to say a few words to the plebs out there?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Den. Yo, what's up, everyone? It's StarTomatoAndilex. I do One Piece theories and One Piece live reactions. I'm fairly new to YouTube. Been around for like almost a year doing One Piece content. I just released a video called "Gods and Devils Are Real in One Piece: The Ultimate Theory." I hope you all get to check it out. Going to be talking about the video and Yokai, everything connected to it. What's pretty, I think, relevant right now in the series. And yeah, thanks for the whoever.
Well, that was nicely done. Yeah, and that's pretty much, you've covered what we'll be talking about at first, particularly not just Yokai, but your video, which was a banger, big one as well. So yeah, we'll dive into that. Right, next, the specimen that is streaming for us today. His name is Fritz D Ditz. You want to say hello?
How are we doing, everybody? Fritty D Ditz here. Always here to make Marines great again. And I will never get over that. It's just too fun to say. And I'm just glad to be here, glad to be with everybody. We might have some fun today. There's a lot to get into when you start looking at the dark side of One Piece. It's a infinite rabbit hole, and there's a lot of people I know, especially in the chat, like to get stuck in those kind of things. So
yeah, and I'm sure we'll dabble with a bit of making the Marines great again at points as well. Great as in amazing, not as in cheese grating. Next, we're going on to the youngest member of TLA, but definitely not the, I don't know, oldest. I guess that works. Jay, bring yourself in. Introduce yourself to the world.
Yo, it's me, Josh.
Wrong.
I would have said the simpiest member of TLA, but
absolutely.
Yeah, he's definitely the best fisherman in the last arc. But
yeah, that is true.
Nobody's gonna get that.
And now next we have the Straw Hat himself, Mr. Lucas. Introduce yourself. Tell people what you do.
Hello, I'm Straw Hat Lucas. I am captain of the last arc. I'm also a One Piece theorist. You can catch my theories over at the Kushi YouTube channel, which if you're not subbed to, why not? Amazing One Piece content. But also in my spare time, I like to stream in a bikini on TikTok at straw_hat_Lucas, which the bikini stream was great, by the way, guys. If you didn't catch it, I will be posting some clips of it on my TikTok. I watched the weights get dropped. It was a banger of a stream, guys. Banger of a stream.
Yeah. We're going to be keeping an eye out as well. We're combing through the footage to see if there was any nip slips or anything. So far, no luck, but we'll definitely keep that posted in the server.
Yeah, we'll post in the shorts if we find it.
Yeah,
I want to see that.
Okay, and next we have the resident translator and historian of the last arc, which is Kube of the Red Sea. Would you like to bring yourself in?
What up, guys? I'm very excited for this stream, you know. And we always have great guests, but who would have thought that we would get Vegapunk's ex, Andilex? Very excited.
Hey.
For
So before we got you back, Cube, there was a wonderful rendition from Straw Hat Lucas on an interpretation.
I heard it.
Review.
I heard it. I was muted, but I heard it.
It was exactly. Yeah, dude.
My mom also heard it.
Your mom heard it. Was she impressed?
she just switched because she didn't understand where the accent come from. She was in my room with me, and suddenly we.
That's how you talk. This is exactly how Cube talks. He walks around like he owns the Reverie. He walks around like he owns the Rejoie. This is how Cube talks. The revolutionaries. Let me tell you about the revolutionaries.
Are you ready?
Are you ready? Actually, I'm happy that you.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Don't forget, guys. Vote for the Revolution Army's movement because Fritz he is all about the old regime, the Celestial Dragon. He calls Saturn his best friend every day. You have to be on the right side. We've got Fujitora. We've got people like Kuzan on our side. Why be with Fritz when you could be with the people who want true change?
Oh man.
Vote for the change.
It's already
Vote
getting
for the
deep,
LA.
bro.
It's getting deep.
We have
Make the Marines
What's
great again.
we have another guest who popped in last minute. Sounds like we have
We do.
a Grand Line bound Smokey D Smokes, bro. What is going
Master of Pokey
on?
Pokey, Mr. Smokey.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm vibing, man. I'm vibing. I'm not here for a long time. I'm just here for a good time. Let's go. Came to see my baby girl, Addie Licks.
Yo.
I love him so much, man.
I'm
Nice.
flattered.
That was deep. A lot deeper than the rest of us went. but,
Tomatoes in the
maybe we
chat.
can build up. We can build up.
Tomato gang,
Um,
tomato gang, tomato. I am the tomato game co-owner. Marth, you've already said I was. I love you. Let's go.
Okay, so I think the best way to do this is, Andy, if you give us, a little bit of a teaser for the whole video, or like a little bit of a, not summary, but just what is the
A
video about,
synopsis.
and then
Yeah.
without giving too much away, and then we'll talk, we'll get down to the questions. And before we do that, quickly, huge shout outs to the Alpha Mod 3-Day in the chat, doing what she does every day, all day, which is help us all out. Big ups to Vex, the master of the D&D. He's lurking and twerking. He's already throwing tomatoes at us. We got VRZ. VRZ is an amazing listener. If you ever want to tell a story, he's the man to tell it to. We got Dex, who's pretty much the best editor in the world already. Lubu's just in all the chats spicing it up. So and there's this weird Andy Lex in the chat as well, but don't worry about him. So Andy.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and also the plasma god himself, NoChillDill. Big ups. I don't know where he is right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Should be-
Yeah.
Oh my
Um,
god.
The plasma god of the last arc.
Yes,
Oh my
big
God.
donator. Wait, that pause. No, Andy. So
Oh my
give us a little, 60 seconds or 100 seconds of what this big vid is about.
Yeah. So pretty
And what
much.
gave you the idea?
Okay, what gave me the idea, what inspired it was the whole thing about from Dressrosa with Luffy, people of Dressrosa calling him Lucy. And I'm like, damn, you know what? Sounds kind of like Lucifer. And I love stuff about the devil. And I just found it really fascinating because then there's like whole things with devil fruits. We'll always see Luffy with horns. So pretty much my video is talking about how pretty much devils and gods are relevant, real in One Piece. And they pretty much were wiped out by the government through all the years, like a cycle. And I later on talk about what the Gorsei and Imo do. They make a nationwide transmutation circle and they use a world serpent. I talk about bread, pan, like how pan. Yeah, I even bring in bread. I talk about bread in my video. It actually works.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. Yeah.
I make parallels
Love
between
bread.
Pan and how Pan was, people would connect Pan to the devil, even though Pan was nothing like that. The same thing as like with what I was talking about Nika, how there may have been Nika followers of religion, and the government pretty much the rise of the government killed it, like the rise of Christianity killed Pan. Pretty much.
Does
You're like-
Law
you're not-
hate Luffy as well? Does Law hate bread?
Well, no, because there's actually in my video I talk about it too. There's a cover panel where we see Luffy trying to get Law to eat bread, pretty much trying to convert him into
Ooh.
Very
Nikaism.
spicy.
Yeah.
Very spicy. Who knew bread in One Piece could be so interesting?
Man.
Have you got any more bread facts?
Yes, I do, and I want to in my next video. I want to bread part 2. Well, part of it's going to be more about bread. There's a superhero from Japan named Anpan Man. I'm so sorry if I said the name wrong.
Pan B man.
Yeah, no, and he it's pretty much like a bread superhero, and Oda was really inspired by it, and it gave him the idea of for like Luffy, whenever like Luffy wants to save people, like with Wano, because the little girl Tama, he gave her food, or she gave him food, and he's like wanted to like thank you for giving me food, I'll help you. And same thing like when Sanji gave Jin food, that's why he wanted to join his crew. Like that's pretty much what Anpan, the idea of what Oda's justice is like.
Yeah, it's an interesting tie with Luffy as well, because Luffy definitely has this. It's brought up quite a lot in the community. Like Luffy is sort of amicable to anyone who feeds him. Anyone who feeds him and then it's like, yeah, Oda's like you
Friend.
say with Law in the cover story, it's kind of getting him to convert or buying him in.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, it's breaking bread with people is legitimately what it is, which is a symbol, which is a symbol, like strong symbolism in religion, and not only that, in some pagan rituals as well, like breaking bread, sharing sake cups as well. Like it's a binding.
Yeah,
So it's also a series with Heisenberg, but sorry, Andy, carry on.
Oh, but since we're speaking of bread, two things. One, the first thing is that I mentioned in my video is what I noticed that with Chopper, Sanji, and Robin, in their flashbacks, maybe even more that I missed, they all share bread. Chopper shares bread with Hiruluk, or Hiruluk gives him bread. Sanji gets bread from Zeph, and then Robin shares bread with Saw. I'm like, ooh, these little connections. Yeah, bread does really bring people together. And another thing is, I talk about the communion from from Christian religion, like the Catholic. The bread, the body of Christ, the blood of Christ, the wine. And then in the past, people thought the communion, like people that were Christians, were cannibals because they thought you were really eating the blood of people, like the blood of Christ. Like the blood of
in the body of Christ.
So which I think kind of connected to devil fruits. What if devil fruits actually have like the blood of people, the blood of gods, or you're consuming that like the nectar of the gods? Or something.
Can you remember what Garp and Sengoku were always eating as well?
Bread.
Oh, rice crackers?
Rice crackers, which is a form of communion, right? They eat rice crackers.
Yes. Oh my God, you're right. Yeah, exactly,
bro. Did you just blew Andy's mind for a second? That's awesome. We are 18 minutes in. Hold on, we are 18 minutes into the stream, and we're already cooking, boys. Let's go.
Yo, that is.
You said rice crackers, right? And then what is sake made out of? Rice. And
rice.
You're
right.
Nice pink sake.
Yeah.
So quickly, Fritz, you're the one who's sort of watched a lot of One Piece more recently than most of us. Was food other than Sanji standing out to you at all? Is there anything you noticed about food, or was it like just a passive detail?
No, this is the whole bread deal like bro's got going on here has really got me like baking and breaking, bro. Like I don't know. it's wild.
Yeah, okay, yeah. There's got to be some. I'm waiting for Vex to drop some Baker puns as well. As not.
Yeah, he just said he's about to act up.
He's about to go bonkies.
Bro, he gets wild with it though.
He's done it a dozen of times.
But like not only the bread, but like there's like the salt. They're always talking about like how the salt is, whether it's like the sea stone is like the hardened salt or the salt in the water. Sanji's always about that the special salt that comes blowing in. That guy cooks him that meal and he just thinks it's the best thing in the world. I mean, and then you got to think about like we're here to talk about the dark side of things. Salt is an ingredient in a lot of the dark side of things. I'm going to tell you that right now. All right.
Ooh, that might be alchemic. You might be talking about some alchemic type properties, my man. I like it.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely the whole like. Yeah, I mean it goes as deep as if you're breaking bread and going down to that. That's all like old school mythology, you know, not just in the Bible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it goes back to I think like Druid practices. If I'm not I might be mistaken on that. So don't take that as like fact or anything. But if I'm not mistaken, it goes back to those. Yeah, like it's like those pagan Anglo-Saxon rituals and stuff like that.
And I'd be honest, dude,
marrying a tree and stuff like that.
The latest thing that I've been cooking up, I've been like going hand to hand, pretty much with this with a Wicca handbook. Just kind of like everything that I've got like a reference for. If I'm thinking it's interesting I'll index it. I'll get an extra 2 cents on it just to see what's really I might be cooking in here in the background.
Speaking of that, like the book you have, the Wicca hand, like for a good while when I was doing research on this video, like all my tabs were like of devil Satanism. I was like, man, if like people think, what is this guy doing? Is he going to do human sacrifices?
You're about to you're on a watch list now because of a One Piece theory.
Yeah, all my.
He's about to give up an arm and a leg.
It's funny because One Piece is so big now. You just go, no, I read One Piece, and they're like, oh,
okay.
Oh, yeah, okay.
One thing I forgot to mention was since we're talking about pan means bread in Spanish and Japanese. Pan. Like that's how you say it in Spanish, pan, and so I forgot to mention that. But yeah, I say that in my video. Yeah, and go on, sorry.
No, you're good. He was saying, I just read One Piece. You'll have a hard time convincing Smooth Brains of that one for sure.
Smooth Brains is wild, bro.
Smooth brains.
If there ain't,
That's just, yeah,
Hey,
about
Smooth.
Pan again. We see Luffy and Sanji and other characters, like weird minor little ones, wear a pan on their shirt. Like Sanji had an apron, a mouse had an apron that said pan on it. Luffy had a shirt when he was trying to convert Law into Nikaism. He had pan on written on his shirt, Luffy. So yeah, there's a lot of little Easter eggs there. And then also I just realized for some reason Oda likes showing Sanji with mice. I don't know if there's any kind of connection there.
Yeah,
I noticed
yeah.
that a lot.
Definitely. We've had a recent cover with
Yeah.
the two mice getting married.
Getting
and
married.
he's
Yeah,
sending them,
yeah.
birthday cake.
that's beautiful.
Actually, I'm gonna jump in here to say, and because knowing Den and Lucas' love for that character, they're really gonna like it because you've been talking about the word pan in Spanish and the other language. You should know that the word pan, the way it's written in French, actually connects to carpentry.
Really?
It's a part of the wall that you see, that you interact with. They call it a pan of wall, and it's PAN.
Interesting.
Panel.
Really? Yeah, that'd be like panel
Panama.
for us.
The carpenter.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, like, guys,
Speaking of
calm
which,
down.
have you guys seen Pan's Labyrinth? Have you guys ever seen the movie Pan's Labyrinth?
Oh yeah, it's a sick movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Guillermo del
Yeah.
Toro, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Guillermo
del Toro.
Legend.
Well, if we're talking about Pan, there's also I know Cuba like this Peter Pan.
Oh,
Off the
I
Never-
thought that's what you were
Never
gonna
Land.
bring up. At some point
Peter
originally.
Bread?
I mean, dude.
Peter,
I mean, think
Peter
about
Bread.
it.
Bread. Yeah, Peter Bread.
Yeah,
Peter
and
Pan is crazy.
And he
Peter
breaks
Pan is
bread. He
everywhere.
breaks the invisible bread. He passes it,
Yeah,
bro.
the one piece is the Peter Bread. The Peter Bread.
Yeah, it's a pita bread.
Come on, guys.
Keep up the bread talk. Yeah, crumb on, guys. Come on, Vex. Crumb on, Vex.
I feel.
Whoa, wait.
I feel a little crummy, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Vex is
I'm
getting pissed at
crumbing.
the person breathing into the mic as well, which we'll call the bread of all things, but we won't go into
The
that.
bread of all things.
Okay, right, Josh, tell us, do you have
Hello.
any thoughts on food in One Piece? Is there anything you've ever looked at?
No.
Okay,
Isn't
standard.
Sanji your favorite Straw Hat?
Standard.
Isn't he legitimately your profile pick right now?
Yeah.
Bro.
Oh
never
my
looked
God!
at
No,
food.
shout out to Vic.
Vic,
VR or Verse Edits. $40. Have some baguette, my guy. I will enjoy that baguette.
Dude.
Yo,
My
VRZ.
That
boy,
baguette,
let's
son.
go.
So,
Merci,
like,
merci.
Yeah,
If we do
yeah.
think about it, though, guys, like, you want to talk about food, I have been in Whole Cake, just getting ready
bro,
to
drop that
get
bread.
wrapping it up. It's wild to think that, like, between being able to derive and put a spirit inside of something that's already been altered into food with another devil fruit is crazy to me.
Mhm.
Hey, can we have a toast for this sick stream for all my ride or die guys? You know what I mean? Like this bread stream is sick.
Yeah, we need to throw VRZ's links in the chat. And
Yes, please.
the Lonely Mage, he put, I needed this stream with a K. Love that.
But, like,
He's on a roll.
I think Vic said that earlier as well.
I want
I
to.
think
He's on a
that-
roll.
Gusto, in response to your comment, nah.
I kind of want
If we
Andy
get
likes
that.
his. I kind of want his thoughts on like that being able to put spirit inside of altered items that have been turned into food, like on Whole Cake. Like a lot of stuff on there was either alive and being able to talk, but not even originally what they were. They were already altered by another devil fruit.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, before I get to that, Kusalan shared something interesting. Shout outs to Kusalan. He said the symbol for salt and alchemy kind of looks like the Straw Hat logo, and I looked it up, and it kind of
Yeah,
does
it
look
does.
like a straw
It does.
hat, the circle. Yeah, like. But yeah,
And not only that,
Fritz
you see the
Coates, my
gold.
guy.
You see the gold alchemic symbol in a lot of the poneglyphs. Like I love that.
oh really? I didn't
I
notice that.
did not know that. I know
Yeah,
that
look at
Panda
Yeah.
Man is written on one of the poneglyphs, but I didn't know that the symbol.
So
for
is
gold-
the alchemical symbol for hydrogen is also found on the poneglyphs.
Yeah, you
Interesting.
see a lot of chemical. Yeah, that's
gold
dope.
obviously being significant to like the ancient kingdom through like Shandia
Yeah.
and then Wano is the City of Gold.
Oh my God! Lonely Mage, my guy. Which, if you're not subscribed to the Lonely Mage, get over there and do it right now. Nice to be loafing around with this topic with the $10 super chat. Let's go, my
Whoa,
boy.
I
Thank
think,
you so much.
I think
We're
that,
just breadwinners.
yeah.
all of
Oh
us.
my God. I think it's something inherently natural about just like who we are, what we are as a species, that we all just want to come down and break bread, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, in my
Fritz,
I
you're a genius.
The
Speaking of that,
urge to break
like
bread.
putting a powers or soul into food. Is that what you're all saying right now?
That's what I was
Uh,
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my
body.
I
The
had
body,
another
right?
video in the past called the key to energy is nature, or nature is the key to energy. Another One Piece theory where I talk about how energy. Vegapunk says nature is energy is everywhere. He states that, and I'm like, what if he's referring to nature itself? And in the video, I talk about how transcendentalism, and how like there's an like a person, like let's say like they're gonna build a house. They get wood from nature to build a house, and they put their soul into that house, and that becomes art. So they combined their soul with nature, and that the plus that and that equals art. So like I guess with food itself, if you're getting food from nature, from like Mother Earth, you're putting your soul into it, and then you get
Yeah.
food with
Hold on,
life,
though.
I guess.
You're talking about putting your your soul inside of like nature and stuff. And did we not
Yeah.
see that in Shandora?
Yeah, the soul
Mhm.
trees.
Yeah.
The,
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Exactly, man.
What, the
Yeah.
Clobberman
It's called
inside
the
of
forest
Going
of-
Merry?
It's called the forest of
Yeah.
embodiment. Right.
Yeah, the
Phlebotomist,
force of
right.
embodiment. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, on Lucas.
Oh no, I was bringing this up because in my Faust theory, which if you haven't seen, go watch it. I know it's almost a month old now, but go watch it.
Love it.
But
Goated.
goated. But in
Yeah.
that, I talk about how I thought they were confused and that maybe they were supposed to be putting these souls inside of devil fruits. And I know you touched on this a little bit in your theory, and I would love to hear you cook a little bit. I'm like,
Yes,
what do you think? About like devil fruits and how they're made.
Well, first of all, I didn't before watching your video. I didn't know who Faust was or what Faust was. I thought it was a character in Attack on Titan. I don't know. So I watched your video, looked at it, and I thought it was very fascinating and kind of somewhat a little bit like what I was touching on. But we covered different things, kind of connect. a
Yeah,
little bit
exactly.
together.
Yeah,
You talked about
yeah,
how
very similar but different.
there was a Faust, or there was a deal made with the devil, and
Yeah.
they would offer you think Emu would offer sacrifices, and these sacrifices were used like
Yeah, the will of them
hunting
in the moment of
competition,
sacrifice, would make the devil fruit.
yes. And what I in my video I talk about, which is really, it was great, I love in my video I talk about how there was Emu and the Gorosei made a nationwide transmutation circle, which I got the inspiration from Fullmetal Alchemist.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
which I think reminded me exactly of what you were talking about, like about how you think like maybe places they would start wars, the hunting competition. That's what they did in Fullmetal Alchemist. They put the intersecting points of the transmutation circle, the nationwide one, was where they had big wars and major populations. So they would get a lot of sacrifices. And that was reminding me of that. And but yeah, they trapped the souls, what I think is the souls of gods, devils, and people into the fruits, and that's how the devil fruits came into be. But in order to do that, you need a big sacrifice. And the souls of all the people and gods and devils weren't enough. They needed a world serpent. And that's where I really love how I was cooking with that. But yeah, I can't really think of the chapter number, but when we first see the Gorosei in the room, we see magic circles in the background, transmutation circle, magic circle, whatever you want.
Yeah.
And one of them, the one on the top right, I think it's like chapter 216, 212, 222. On the top right, we see one circle on the top right of the panel that looks like there's a woman in the middle, a mermaid. And I'm like, oh, what if that is supposed to represent Poseidon, since Shirahoshi is the new Poseidon? And so in my video, I talk about how, like, what if Emu blackmailed Poseidon to wake up the world serpent and use like Poseidon powers? And that's the red line we see today.
And before your video had dropped, actually, I think you and I were on VC and we were talking a little bit. And like, I love the concept of something being inside of the red wall. Like, it is one of my favorite quotes is "Let sleeping dragons lie," and that's what I think of when I think of the Red Wall. Is there's something inside there? So thinking of it as like a great serpent or an Ouroboros type figure is amazing. Like
It is called, yeah.
It's just a
It's
bunch of
crazy
colossal
why-
titans,
that's
bro.
why-
Like,
Well, that's
Yeah,
why
and with
Dorian
us getting
Dorian
to
Brogdon
Elbaf,
called it that.
yeah, and we'll go into Elbaf especially. I think this would be, if anywhere, we would get that kind of lore drop.
So
Right.
Andy, I'm gonna jump in because I think one of your best video is that nature video, and I'm very sad you didn't brought up because there's a point that Andy brings up, and I think that can even explain why there are 5 Gorosei, and a lot of stuff. He talks in that video about balance, but everything have its unique code balance, meaning that the way Kid awakened would not be the same way that how Luffy awakened. Like everything has a certain balance, certain compatibility that you not could break away. That I found it very interesting. I think that
Like
it's
we-
really
we-
relevant.
Yeah, we've
yeah,
spoken about it in other forms as well, like just the idea of equivalent exchange from Full Metal and how like like when with the Gorosei appearing on Egghead, we don't know if that's cost them a resource to travel that far that quick. Oda specifically showed us flying, like them flying from the air and landing, like similar to Kuma, right? But so yeah, I'd be interested to know what the exchange is, what the cost of the Gorosei is, basically.
I would guarantee that there was a cost, and the fact that there are 5 Gorosei, and there probably has to be, is probably due to like them being a personification of the cardinal points and like watchtowers of the guardians of the watchtower, and like why they would sit on Ridgewall until they were absolutely needed, and having to intervene. Like there's a lot there going on with
Spicy.
that.
I mean, I think that's on point because if I'm not mistaken, the Calm Belt isn't considered to be its own territory, so there are 5 territories in the world of One Piece.
Yeah, and I've always theorized if the world itself is one big transmutation circle, because if you look at if you were to look at the world map, all the islands are like particularly shaped, different shapes, and all these what if those are like the rooms itself, and what if that's how Emu is able to like wipe out cities and stuff, because the world is it's their transmutation circle. They could play with it with a tooth, like a paintbrush. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like literally the red line could be the ring, the circle for the transmutation circle. It literally wraps.
Right, and it's like if you look at all the properties of the Grand Line itself, there's a lot of magnetic properties to it, right? And that's all alchemy. That's all it's a conduit. Like in alchemy, you need actual electrical conduits for stuff.
And speaking of alchemy, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I interrupted you.
No, dude. You didn't.
Oh yeah. But yeah, again, in Fullmetal Alchemist, and I think it's just in general alchemy itself, like in the real world. I think I talk about one of the earliest forms of alchemy in a manuscript called the Chrysopoeia of Cleopatra, which is from like a long time ago. Not the Cleopatra chick from Egypt, the ruler. Some other Cleopatra that was like a scientist. She created like a circle, like a magic circle, a transmutation circle with like the outline was a snake eating its tail, and in the middle was the all is one, which is in Fullmetal Alchemist, which Izumi says to Edward and Alphonse, pretty much like the world is connected, everything, it's going to keep moving forward no matter what. Pretty much talking about like that's what the Ouroboros means. Like
yeah, three day in the chat mentioned earlier about like maybe the red line itself, which is an Ouroboros like sort of thing.
Yes.
Is a transmutation circle or is some sort of summoning circle.
Yes. I actually thought
Philosopher's Stone.
I was considering putting that in my video, but I kind of omitted it at the end because the world isn't flat, and it would have to wrap around the planet, kind of.
Remember, like the Philosopher's Stone is always meant to be like red, like it's always shown to be like a red stone. And what color is the red line?
I was like, yeah, I love the idea of the worldwide transmutation circle. I am all for that.
We don't need any of that Earth's round flat fake news here as well. Like you know, everyone.
Well, with the transmutation circle, well, I would love to see that. I also like to play with the idea that it could be a seal of sorts. Like it's not them wanting to summon this great serpent that wraps around the world. It's wanting them to stop it. And if that is the case, if they're stopping Ouroboros, just like Andy said, he is the progression of time. They're stopping the progression of time, is what it is, which could lend credence if they're sealing this great beast to the idea of this overarching loop that is happening in One Piece. If that great serpent is stopped.
And then
Interestingly, just on this real quickly before I forget, like also like you know how like if you break a summoning circle, it's like ants, right? Ants won't cross ash. So if you put an ash circle around something, ants won't go inside it. And if you break that, they'll find a way inside, right through the break. And obviously, with reverse mountain, we have a crack in the circle, so
The crust of the world.
interesting that it's possible. Like,
Well, that too. Like I've always said, what if that was done purposefully, right? Like Dorian Bragi say that the Hakaku Sabaji couldn't even pierce the red line. That hints that either they tried or their ancestors, something down the line, tried to pierce the red line. What if they didn't pierce it? What if they just made channels in it so you could?
They call it a red snake, right? They refer to it.
Yeah,
We're assuming they meant the red line. Yeah.
It's called the serpent soaked in blood. That's what they called it.
And speaking of the red line, what actually brought me into the Ouroboros talking about it was, I know you're all not going to believe it, wasn't the alchemy, wasn't the red line. It was, I thought Luffy's straw hat, the red band around his straw hat is supposed to represent the red line. It's literally a red line. I mentioned that in my video also, and that's what brought me into Ouroboros.
The sun setting, the sun setting on the red line, whatever. That's dope. I've heard that, seen that before too.
Actually, you know, it actually goes what I just found something, and it goes with what you were saying about Lucas Straw Hat and everything you guys been saying. Luffy, man, I keep doing that.
I also have a straw hat with a red line, so I guess you're not wrong.
You're not wrong at all.
If you think about it, in Impel Down, Magellan's fruit literally created a creature, a Hydra, and its strongest form was a reddish poison that would literally merge with the stone, terraform the stone, make into dust. If you think about it as well.
Good call, my guy.
Yeah,
would explain why it was red. I know I took it out in my video. I was like, the reason why the red line is red is it's from all the dried up blood from all the people that were massacred and killed. I was like, nah, I don't know. I'll take that out.
No, I've always believed that. I always believe it was like constructed. Like it was. I don't think it's a natural.
I mean, there is a lot of gravestones on Whiskey Peak, right? Like lots and lots and lots. Like
that's crazy.
Facts. I mean, all the spikes. It looks like a cactus. Like all the spikes are great.
Well, it seems like they're trying to separate the rest of the world from the new world. But if I'm being honest, with the red line,
what I found interesting is and I forgot the chapter number, but in the chapter where Robin goes down the like basement underground and Alabaster with Cobra. They go to this tomb or like a ceremonial tomb for like the location of Pluton, and there's like inscriptions on the wall. On the right side of the wall, they show like this big serpent with like a bunch of people trying to fight it off. I'm like, what if that's the world serpent? And it like when it was awakened, it pretty much just effed up the planet. Not just the nationwide transmutation circle, but that serpent itself just moving around effed things up. Pretty much like the effects of the mother frame. However you want to say it, like
I mean, you're hinting on something too, because when they're going up Reverse Mountain, they see these archways like at the base of this channel, and there's carvings of like a sea creature on there as well. It looks like a serpent, a mermaid serpent, and that's exactly like why I think that too. Like that you might be hinting on something for sure.
Yeah. I mean, with Luffy as well, we have like Snake Man, right? And I mean, it's crazy. At the time, I just didn't clock on at all, but now it's like super opinion as one of his forms. And we've had the Gorosei reveals, and none of them were revealed to be proper serpents. There was only like a worm, right? That's the closest. And the Tsunade is supposed to be a serpent, but Oda didn't draw it. He drew it more as a bird, right? So maybe Emu or Joy Boy has this connection to a snake or a serpent, and then that ties to the general like or
vibe of it.
And the Skypians as well. They worship that blue serpent.
Also, quick, I love what 3 Days said in the chat. She says, I really think the 100-year limit for the Elbaf warrior battles has to do with why there is a 100-year void for the voids. I'm assuming the void century. That is interesting. I really like that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I was gonna say about the color red. I just find it very interesting that if you think about it, the form of Haki that is all about infusing your will or your energy is Ryo, and it has naturally the color red all the time.
Yeah.
And if you go back to Wano in the training, all the stuff your girl says is very interesting. Like says, think of all your experience, all your memories, use that to fuel. So it kind of makes me think that the reddish part could be something more connected to infusing something, or something was infused.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we've obviously had that with the ponies, like you say, and alabaster in real life is a see-through stone, right? A clear, transparent stone. So to be able to put Haki or Rio into that and then to change its color, I definitely see something like that happening with the red line because it's so indestructible, as they say. Yet there's a massive hole underneath it with Fishman Island.
Do you think Luffy's gonna break the red line? Do you really think that's gonna happen?
Yes.
Yes,
Pure fact.
entirely, 100%.
Maybe
Actually,
simply as well. Maybe just step on it or something really simple as well. Like
I know
Right.
we've been
Platinum.
teased by it actually. In the Hard Knock Days opening in post time skip, they show Luffy breaking a big wall, like a mountain, but from a marine base.
Bro.
It's red. It looks like he's breaking the red
Fire.
line.
Luffy's gonna be
Yeah.
straight clown in full tune mode, and he's just gonna like do something ridiculous, and it's gonna literally just part it all apart out of its way, just like
I've heard
whatever.
people say I've heard people say exactly that, Fritz. Like
he's gonna be clouding. He ain't even gonna mean to.
You might like take the red line, turn it into something wobbly like rubber, and then like hook up the moon with it, and then pull the moon closer.
Bro,
Like I've heard loads of weird stuff. Like
That's
but
crazy.
Can you imagine? Can you
That's
imagine
not
that if he like
real.
combines?
some
Can you
straight
imagine if he
boomerang
combines
shit.
all the oceans? Combines all the oceans. That's how we get the all blue, and they call it the
Dude, like,
grand blue.
that is a possibility now. That is a possibility. With the power of Sun God Nika, anything is possible.
Since you know Luffy's rubber, Usopp could use Luffy as a rubber band, like a slingshot, and shoot him to the
Rubber
red
Band
line
of
and destroy it.
Doom!
Yeah, shoot it. Snipe it.
So
Literally, he is Sniper King.
one of you guys said something really obvious earlier. It's just really obvious, like the separation of like the being from the new world, separating the new world from the Grand Line. And
Yeah, that
like,
was me, yeah.
but for like the rhyme or the reason, maybe it's because like they can only use certain type of wills and strong spirits in the Grand Line, and it's probably there to separate them because like they're inherently an ingredient. So like they don't want.
Yeah, I completely hear that, dude. Like I was gonna ask you, like, well, I'll ask all of you.
Well,
like, in
maybe
that
the new
case-
world.
In that case,
sorry.
if the world government offered, like, if the world government was splitting the world in half because it needed to be, how would you feel about that? Would you feel like they're doing the right thing then, or?
Well,
They're
what if it
doing-
was necessity because all of Joy Boy's crew that survived escaped to the latter half of the Grand Line? Think about how different the new world is to the concept of like liberation and stuff compared to the earlier half of the Grand Line. Like,
What
I think it was a
it's like
form of
in their
imprisonment.
DNA.
you guys were talking
Yeah,
about.
exactly.
Form of
Maybe it's a
imprisonment.
form of imprisonment.
You guys were talking about the costs earlier, and like, so, I mean, if somebody's not considered sufficient enough to be worth that cost, then why have them there? And that separation from the New World and the
Yeah.
Grand Line probably separates those who are worthy of that cost.
Yeah,
kinda like-
okay.
that's-
yeah.
Because if you want to talk about it like we're talking like equivalent exchanges, you can't undermine that equivalent exchange without having repercussions. So that's probably why it is that way. If you want to think
It
about
will
it in
always-
that way.
It's a natural filtration, but I think it still was done with malicious intent. That's
Yeah.
how you control information as you separate. You know, once you
Actually-
get divided, you get conquered.
I'm
And
just
I think
cooking with
that's
my brain
how-
rot, dude. Don't hold me down, all right?
I just want to. I want to bring up. I made a mistake
love it.
earlier. I said Usopp was Soga King, but they're both two different people.
They
Soga
are.
King
They
and
are
Usopp.
two different.
I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, get it
Usopp is
right,
from
dude.
Sniper Village. Soga
Right.
King's from Sniper Island. I
Right,
just,
the wind never carried his name.
Bro,
So,
actually, to jump in
Just
on
pulling
this,
pulling it back a little bit. I just wanted to go back to like the Gorosei and stuff like that. Lubu mentioned earlier that
Oh,
Lucci used the 6 King finger pistol or whatever it's called, which could be the 5 Gorosei plus Emu. So I was going to ask, like, with all this red line stuff, do you think Emu was there? Do you think Emu's as old as the Gorosei? Do you think the Gorosei were there when all this red line crazy stuff was happening back in the day?
I personally think the Gorosei and Emu have been around for a good while, and they've been on Emu's side. They're old. We really don't know what Emu looks like underneath that robe. But yeah, another thing, I don't know if I heard somebody say it, but I really like how that the Gorosei could have been part of Joy Boy's crew.
Mhm.
That's why I love that.
I think at least it's possible for maybe one of them, maybe not all though, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think the Gorosei are devils, Andy?
Oh, Am I okay? Speaking of that, in my video, I talk about how their forms may be tied to devils, which is tied to fear, and I bring a connection to Chainsaw Man, because in Chainsaw Man there's devils,
Yo.
and those devils are pretty much created by the fears of people. If you're scared of like guns, there's gonna be a gun devil. Well, in One Piece, what if you have like arachnophobia, and that will, that's what Saturn's power, the
Yeah, like a fear,
the Jirai
a
Gumo,
primal
whatever.
fear.
Yeah, primal fear. Yeah, and then we've seen the other girls say they look like they could be tied to fear. Like there's one with like death.
Yeah.
You could be, and
Yeah, because I think that they are. I think they were originally Emu's right hand men. Like they were Emu's counsel, basically. And whenever Emu made that deal with the devil or whatever happened in the Void Century, that's how they gained their powers. I think they became, whereas devils would go, or these souls of these gods, as you would say, go inside these devil fruits. Whatever Emu did to the Gorosei, it put the soul, instead of in the fruit, into the Gorosei. Like they are the pure form of it. Yeah.
that could so very well have happened. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause
we
if you
came
could
to
put
a lot of the same conclusions in our videos, just came at it with different points.
So you're
If
telling
I'm
me
being honest, yeah.
you're telling me Wapple just needs to eat all the Gorosei and become the Grand Kai Master,
Or
bro.
Big Mom. Yeah.
Oh my
Whoa,
God,
this
dude,
guy,
yes.
This guy.
Dude,
Yeah.
no, think about it, because with Wapple's Munch fruit, we could get a realistic pirate docking.
Bro, you just
Good-
said dog.
Could he eat Vivi and protect her and then like spit her out and stuff like that? Like,
Mhm.
oh, whoa, pause. Wait a minute. Let's move on.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm gonna jump in with a bit of a twist, because you guys talked about how they separate, the world was separated and they're trying to reconnect it. What if it's the other way around? Like, what would happen if everyone's in one place for Emu? You know what I mean? Constant damage. Think of all the people they can have. It's because if you think about it, in Marineford or in the end of Hashinosu, it's always the resistant that keeps destroying the island or separating from the people, like Whitebeard. Like, so you guys think it's possibilities that even To Kill a Wolf, it's been 700 years since they've been trying to build it. I'm wondering if on the other side they've been stalling because they know what would happen if the world is connected. Like it's game over.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you guys think, like, if the world government, Emu, are able to reconnect the world one together, is that it's going to be positive, or is it going to be game over for all of them? Because that's how I see it. Like, if they can to reconnect To Kill a Wolf, it's finished.
Well,
There's
maybe
no
I guess
resistance.
connecting the world pretty much is like, I guess would be considered, I guess, like an advancement of technology, like kind of what Vegapunk wants to the punk records to give, like,
Mhm.
expand knowledge to everyone. If the world is connected, I guess it'd be easy to traverse, and words will travel on faster communication, so everybody will be able to be up to date with things and technology. Because I feel like
Metaphorically bridging the gap, sort of thing.
yeah,
Yeah, interesting. I think it is a weird topic because there's a lot of what ifs. Like, so if the government do want the two separate worlds, like the new world, which is inhabited mostly by non-human or different human species, compared to Paradise, which is called Paradise and populated pretty exclusively by humans, it might be that, like, after they blocked it off, they still needed something from the new world. They were like, ah, shit, we need a certain resource or a certain race. As we saw with the auction list, they were paying good money for people that are from the new world, exotic races. So they must have still had an interest, even though if they wanted segregation.
Well, think about it too, dude. All of the road poneglyphs are also in the new world. If what I said about, like, maybe it was where Joy Boy's, like, crew hid, the ones that lived or something, it would make sense that the poneglyphs would be there as well. But the fact that the poneglyphs are only on one side of the world supports this idea of segregating the entire world completely. Like, if you cannot hide them in the other part of the world because it is entirely unsafe, hide them in the new world where they will be more safe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look how the world of One Piece is made, it seems that the Marine world government, they only have the Paradise on lock. If you look at the four blues, like, yes, these blues so peaceful, but then the other blues, like I think it's a South blue that is just crazy stuff happening, and then we are getting all those lore with the West blue. But then you look at the new world, and it's something that they can make moves without agreement with the Gorosei. But in Paradise, they've got, like, most of their territories are in Paradise, so it actually makes sense.
and
Joy Boy's crew and all is there in the new world. That's where
Speaking
they
of
flock to.
the Marines, one thing I noticed, I mentioned in my video, is that their symbol, yeah, we think it's like, an M-shaped bird. We see like Oda could be trying to fool us. Like even in Sengoku, he wears a bird on his hat with the shape of the Marines. But what if that could, actually very well represent horns, like from the Aries, I mean the zodiac sign Aries. I thought they looked super similar. Two horns. And that could just, tie to some dark past. And then that brought me to Baphomet and how maybe, there's some kind of connection, inspiration from Baphomet. Like Oda gets all these different ideas to make something new from different cultures, religions. And I think Baphomet may have been one of them too. Because they could have been, we see a lot of like references to horn things, like the people of Namakura Island. I'm not sure about the name of the exact village, but on Namakura Island, we see people wearing like sheep, like horns with
Ram's
like,
horns.
black sheep. Yeah, ram horns. Yeah. And the whole, like, who the F is Mary? What's Mary? A mink? Or he has horns.
Yeah,
the Mary ship has horns. And
there is something as well that I think that sounds like a dick. Most One Piece readers and watchers won't notice, which is that at the top of so Amazon Lily, Ryugu Palace in Fishman Island, that little shelter at Nakamura Island, all of these big locations, the top of their buildings, at the very top of the palace, there's horns on either side. We also see it in Sky Pier in a cover story, and it's always the highest one, and they're very subtle. But yeah, I agree. Like we see these horns everywhere, particularly, for example, Elbath. So it is interesting, and the horn is a very metaphorical and symbolic object.
Onigashima too. Also, there's Buggy's horn, his horn nose, like. That could be something significant. I talk about it in my comedy video.
That's abstract, yeah.
but yeah, we do hear him squeak his no horn in the anime. But speaking of in the whole horns thing, oh fudge, I lost my thought. Oh yeah, with the whole then there's the whole like the devils, and the government symbol is literally a cross. Like that is so a cross. Like, and I mentioned that in my video. And like it's like. It's like their form of like Oda's like using the government as his like their form of Christianity, combining religions. Like, what if like the people of Namakura Island, like how did they know to do that ritual? Who taught them that? Why were they wearing a horn dating? Was it for Nika? Because what's his name? Kuma knew about Namakura. He sent Brook there. What if Kuma was the one that spread the whole thing of Nika to them, and they saw Nika as the devil? Maybe because that's what Nika really was, and they were praying to him, and they were referring to him as Satan. Like,
I mean, if you think about it, if you look into One Piece, no one could know where Binksaki comes from. But in Rogers, the Odin flashback, you see the whole group singing it. Even Brooke says it. Oh, it's something pirates used to sing back in the day. We don't know where it comes from. Like, they don't know where it comes from anymore. So it's like, it's a bit culture, like they be back fight, It got lost on who did it, but it's like, card games. You don't know who created like solitaire, this kind of stuff, but those are stuff that, or chess, we don't care who's the creator, it's still there, it's part of our culture. So yeah, that makes me think the same thing.
The cross in Kuma's church in I can't remember the name of the kingdom he's from. Sorbet Kingdom? Sorbet?
Yeah, Sorbet.
I think that's the first time we saw a cross like that. It was literally like a sun in the middle with the cross. What if, the government literally took the sun away from the people, literally the sun from the cross, and made it their own, as in like the government, the four C's in the middle, the Gorosei and Imu or whatever, they're Gorosei. But yeah, I think that very interesting. Oda showed us Kuma kneeling in front of that cross, like pretty big. Really big
I agree. I think the cross itself is super significant. At the ends of the cross have that like little whale tail thing that kind of looks like what we see on the marine symbol as well. But just the fact that like the South Blue has Saint Briss connected to it, Briss being bliss because the R and the L, and bliss is a word from the Bible. So, and we also have like this whole missionary thing with Kuma and his family, right? And starting this whole religion thing. So there's definitely tons of religious ties to South Blue, and also there's also ties to the horns that you were talking about. Like we saw Robin become an actual demon in Wano, which is wild. She was fighting an Ushioni who has horns.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that could be the actual devil fully awakened. Like Robin became in sync, like
That's,
resonated
in my
with the
Yokai
devil.
video. That's literally what I was talking about. Like the fact that she, like Black Maria, uses medicine like a rumble ball to change forms, and she uses a fruit to be the Ushioni. Then Saturn appears. He's like a more advanced Ushioni, and Black Maria fights Robin, who turns into the actual Ushioni, like something with loads of arms, proper demon. You know, we didn't get any explanation, and then we just moved on, and we still don't know what's going on there. So, yeah. Wild.
And yeah, she's referred to as the demon child. I think that's what her epithet is or something.
Debus, we've in the chat, like we've got my channel's pretty much dedicated to that symbol. So yeah, it's all over One Piece. So yeah, like Mihawk's blade, mantle, it's absolutely everywhere. Sora's.
Bro, I'm still broken
Yeah.
from your last comment in the chat, bro.
I was seeing the dub recently, like the scene where the
Comment.
people of Namakura are like doing the ritual and they're like, "Hail Satan! All hail Satan!" It just sounded ridiculous in the dub.
Full Cube impressions. I like it.
Yeah, full Kube. Hail Satan, best guy in the world, best guy. Best thing's gonna happen today.
Oh yeah, also in Kuma's flashback, his dad said, "Kuma, your mom is at heaven now." That's unless it's a bad translation that I got. But yeah, Oda is talking about an actual heaven. There is an afterlife.
I'm
Well,
guessing
I'm
it's not like it means it's supposed to mean in the kitchen or something like that.
Yeah.
It probably does mean the afterlife in whatever translation, you know.
Yeah. And
I'm a firm believer of the original, like, because you talk about the world government being this, like, oh my God, symbolism for, it's not symbolism, I can't think of the proper word right now, but this reflection of Christianity in our world, and I 100% subscribe to that, because I believe the first religion worshiped Mika entirely.
and then oh sorry, go on.
No, yeah, but so I truly believe that if there is a heaven, it is the heaven that Kuma's dad was talking about with Kuma's mom, is like the one that they would believe in, which is the faith of the sun god Nika, to bask in his freedom, his liberation. Like,
But I bring up like the Spanish Inquisition, like how they were converting people into Christianity. Like that could have been the world government. They were converting people into like the world government-ism. Like no, don't believe in Nika. We're gonna wipe you out, wiping out whole cities, populations of people because they wanted to believe in Nika, and they took that and used it as their own, and they became pretty much their version.
Not
of
only
Nika.
the men, but the women and the children too.
And then also with the Knights Templar, they were like, they worked for the church. They're like the knights of the church, right? They pretty much like the Marines for the government. But yeah, the Knights Templar were known to worship Baphomet, like behind the scenes.
Yeah,
The Marines
it's like Freemasonry, right? And then the Kazuki family are Masons, like so that's interesting. Also, 3-Day said Brooke is proof of an afterlife too.
Brooke was summoned. Legit. He wasn't sent there. The devil worshippers got him.
Yeah.
So I've got a twist for you guys. With everything we've been seeing recently and Roger's quotes, because I actually believe that he was talking like it was not a metaphor. He was being literal when he says to Rady, "I won't die." And we've seen like, what if someone tells you, "Oh, I'm going to go to paradise soon"? Well, that's the grand line. I'm wondering if there's an actual concept of heaven, because I don't actually believe people die. That's why people like Pound or Pelt can come back.
You want to
Or
talk
like
about
that's something
paradise, dude?
Yeah, like maybe like heaven. Heaven must mean something specific, like
not paradise.
standby.
Like Sabo said, hell is at the top of the world in 1084 when he saw the Gorosei silhouettes.
Yeah, exactly.
Bro.
So
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
heaven is an actual place.
Speaking on top of the world, yeah, the whole thing with what Sabu said, it was Marco mentioned like how here there was a land of gods above the red line, which was like, that's where the Mary Joie is, where the Gorosei reside, and probably we're assuming it's where the Lunarans were from. Maybe at one point that's where the home was. But what if, like in my video, I talk about what if he was talking about above, like in the clouds, they were and below
Bro.
that was Mary Joie, and I talk about there's gods, and that could have been a godland.
They've been
'cause
talking.
Skype is the answer of godland.
They've been talking about false gods in the sky since fucking Skypea, bro. They've been hitting at it since day one, bro.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
we also in my video in Oda's one shot called God's Gift for the Future. I bring this up in my video. We see an actual god with a halo and angel wings above the clouds, watching over people like Kami from Dragon Ball Z, and like
that you talk about in your video, the pen of fate, is then like we see that pen used by multiple characters in scenes and in cover stories throughout the story.
I mean,
So you're
Emu
saying
literally-
Emu's a mangaka? Huh?
Yeah. Also, yeah, the dude, the god lost the eraser of fate, and he never found it. What if Emu got their hands on it? Like that's what I was saying in my video. Like, and
It just ties back to that.
They could erase.
Or
They're
that-
literally erasing things from history. They literally are.
Yeah.
So, in my video that we dropped like a year ago, Garpus Rocks, we actually talk about the God's gift for the gifts for the future, and we analyze the fact that there could be a parallel to that god with Emu, to the fact that Emu did not erase Lelucia. Emu crossed it out, and that was the realm of God. He couldn't erase stuff. He had to cross out or rewrite certain stuff to to overwrite it. So I think it would be closer that maybe Emu, like, and I've said this right, he's missing the rubber to erase it.
And that's
The Gomu. You know what I mean? Like Luffy's fruit maybe has an important component, or maybe that's why Emu is so upset. Lily is maybe the reason why Emu cannot erase anymore and has to rewrite. So that could also be an interesting way of seeing it, as well. Like Emu lost something. Or Imagine that's why they want Hancock's fruit. Ooh, imagine if the eraser is stoned up.
Oh,
Like someone used Hancock's
Ooh.
fruit. It came to my mind like that, but
When you said stoned up, I was thinking something completely different immediately.
I was thinking about myself right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. In my video, I actually really do think once you're awakened, you have a chance to like losing self-control, because I honestly think Luffy kind of is going loco, like crazy, like when he's awakened. Like he might actually lose himself and do something bad might happen because he got too into the moment, like by not taking it seriously, laughing and all that. Like he
already started.
Like I say, like he looks kind of somewhat possessed, and even in the anime, they really kind of made him look kind of crazy possessed at some points, like for frames, like seconds. And
It already started, Andy. Think about it. Sentomaru got unfocused because Luffy was jumping all around him or something around Lucci, and that's how Kizaru was able to hit him at that point. Because at one point he was preoccupied by Luffy jumping around him.
Yeah, and then the impel guards, impel down guards, the awakened users, the first ones we've seen,
Bro.
they went crazy. They lost control. And then like that's the whole possession. And then in my video, I bring up another one shot by Oda, Wanted, with Gil Bastar or Bastar D Gil, Bastard Gil, and Wild Joe. Pretty much like a cool Western. There was this best bounty hunter in the world was gonna take down Gil Bastar because he just would always just save himself up from self-defense, and he pretty much gained notoriety. I can't say that word, sorry, for killing people out of self-defense. And then he killed Wild Joe, right, out of self-defense. And then that guy, Wild Joe, became a spirit and started like haunting Gil Bastar. And we see them walking around, and there's like a ghost, like from Dragon Ball, the Super Ghost Kamikaze attack. Those like looks like that, like one of those ghosts following him. And that ghost actually goes inside Gil and possesses him and is able to control him. And I think that pretty much may have inspired Oda for Devil Fruits, possessing people.
Interesting.
That was really fascinating. But we see panels of that ghost going inside of Gil and like controlling him. And that's maybe what happened when you eat a devil fruit, and when you awaken it, you lose control and it possesses you.
Think about it. Brook's fruit is more there's a fruit of second chance. What can he do? He become a soul and inhabit certain items.
It seems to be something that we're seeing a lot of. Like these awakened abilities seem to affect the surroundings, right? Like literally making this what's it called, like the ground rubbery and bouncy. So like it is, and we also have the devil fruit and inanimate object stuff like the Tanuki teapot, not to be confused with chestnut Tanuki, but yeah. Also with that, I have to shoot now, but I know you boys are gonna keep cooking. Lubu has to be in, so if there's some space, I guess maybe if you guys want, you can jump in later. But with that, it's been a pleasure, Andy. Much love as always. You're done. Love the video.
Thank you.
I'll give it a share as well at some point. Take it easy, boys. Enjoy.
Yeah, talk to you, man. Talk to you soon, bro. So
But yeah, speaking of the video, if you haven't watched it, watch it, share it with your friends and family, share it to the world. It means so much to get those views up on that video and the subs up.
Show it to your grandma. Yeah, she'll love it.
I put a lot. It took me like 3 to 4 months for that video. It took a long time.
The effort shows, brother. Like, just to give you some flowers, like the effort on that video shows, like how much time you put into it.
Yeah, and it's just like there's some like it's I wanted to try something different. Like I wanted like to something outside of the box. So I kind of go. You have to have an open mind. And I've seen some comments they're calling it out because I say Luffy's connected to the devil, and they're like they don't even want to watch it. I'm like, did you even pay attention to the video? Like, like literally like pirates are rebelling against the government. That's like the devil rebelling against God. But like Oda likes to get ideas from different like media, Bible, books, and he's creating his own story with this. And what if in his version the God was wrong and Satan was right, and like he's putting that into his story. But, like
Basil
ideas.
Hawkins needs to come back
Well,
and play the
crazy-
long game, bro, and get this shit.
You say
figured
that,
out.
StarTomatoAndilex, but here's some crazy stuff from our world, right? If you look into the ancient Sumerian religion and the ancient Sumerian text, like the cuneiforms, their idea of our creator was named, I believe it's Enki or Ea or something like that. And when the cuneiforms were translated into Hebrew and became the Epic of Gilgamesh, this figure of Enki, the one that created us in their beliefs, actually was represented by the serpent, which later in the Hebrew was translated into English and became the Bible, became Satan and the serpent in the Garden of Eden. So wild you would say that, because I also think this is like going to reflect in One Piece, because like Oda's a smart man. Like he definitely would have like researched religion.
Yeah, you were speaking of a serpent. I bring up Yaldabaoth, who's a demiurge, which is like a serpent-like lion with like a moon and star, like a moon and sun behind him, and a crescent moon. And pretty much it's there's a supreme god, the monad, which is I guess just like supposed to be God, like from other religions. They're the Gnosticism. And yeah, they created this false god, a demiurge called Yaldabaoth, and this false god created the mortal world, right? And pretty much there were like people were like souls were free, but he trapped the souls into bodies, and they were forced to like experience sin and fear and pain and all that. Pretty much they were all effed up. And Satan, Lucifer, the Gnosticism believes that Satan revealed the truth of this false god to the world, to the people, and pretty much rebelled against it and gave them the true knowledge, which reminded me of your video, because you said that Faust wanted the true knowledge, or wanted to gain knowledge by making a deal with the devil.
Yes.
But yeah, it's kind of like the opposite. The world gains the true knowledge by getting help from the devil. And pretty much Luffy, if he represents Satan, rebels against Emu because nobody knows about the existence of Emu or what the Gorosei really are. Luffy will reveal it to the world, and pretty much they'll gain the true knowledge thanks to Luffy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tainted Marth, our beautiful tomato man. €5 super chat. Like D stream or St. Charles will come to get your mom. He can have her, bro. Let's go.
Absolutely. Send
Okay,
it,
first of all, Lucas, when you said the god Inky, at first I thought you said Tinky, like Tinky Winky the Teletubby. So you got
Yeah, the god Tinky Winky with his cosmic purse that holds all tubby custard.
Bro, like, if you think about it, though, like, having screens on your belly with doing a special dance definitely fits in the One Piece Devil Fruit world. Like, if Bro can pat his belly and make a genie, then Teletubbies are real, dude.
Yeah, and actually there is something I like what you guys talk about, about Faust, about having the true knowledge, right? But in a weird way, what Faust...
let me clear up something real fast about the true knowledge thing. So in Faust, it was that he was on the verge of making himself take a dirt nap, and it was because he had sought out all human knowledge. Like, he knew everything about the world. And then, well, at least he thought he did. And then the devil was like, yeah, that's when he made the deal. So, like, it's not, like, earthly knowledge. It's specifically unearthly knowledge that he got from the deal.
Yeah, well, thank you for clearing that out. And now, I'm very curious about it, because I just thought of it when you were talking about Faust right now, and with everything we've been talking with is... Interesting enough, the way we know about knowledge, and how Kaido even talked about awakening. Now you have a real connection, knowledge to your body and mind. It kind of makes me think that the voice entry is the opposite of that, is to counter that completely, because it's complete no knowledge at all. Don't even remember the previous era,
Yeah,
but I find it very interesting. You think the voice entry. What happens if some people are from the voice entry era? Like I'm believe that most of them that would
Yeah, it's
happened
wild
was
you bring that up because in that Faust video, I brought up that I had a lot of different connections, and one of them is that Luffy will gain that unearthly knowledge that Faust did, and he'll understand the truth of the world.
With the voice of
And
all
like
things,
that'll be
probably.
yeah, with the voice of all things, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like one thing I was trying to make very clear in my video, but it was kind of hard to put it into words. I had a lot of trouble with it. Is I wanted to talk about a time before like the rise of the ancient kingdom, like before that.
Yeah.
Like earlier in time. And I think we have little brief fragments of it in the story. Like in Alabasta, there's like Robin was saying that the poneglyph was just talking about the past, like princes or kings from the past or what they did. That may have been before the time of like the ancient kingdom. And yeah, in my video, I talk about that's when there were gods and devils, and they were one of the first races. That's pretty much how I start off the video. I bring up an author's note by Oda, how Oda was like, he says that he wishes people would have horns, and he's like, don't you wish like at the dawn of time men would have horns? Like he starts going off about that, just talking a lot about horns.
Yeah, and
like,
then we see Onis and Wano as well, which like they could be the reason they could be so scarce is that they're like a progenitor race, like an original race of mankind. Maybe that's how most humans looked before they like.
Yeah,
and maybe humans are like maybe humans are even I hate to say it this way, but like genetic mutts of every other race that is inside of the One Piece world. Like, they're just so mixed up that.
Yeah, and speaking of this, in my video I bring up like the Bible, like I don't know if you've heard of the Nephilim, which were from how I interpret it, they were the sons of God, like the sons of man and God.
Oh my God. Can I just hold on one second, Andy? I have to praise you right now because everyone talks about the Nephilim and they bring them up as giants, but you are the first person who said the actual shit that they are.
They
are
also
the fallen
giants,
children of God.
That and giants, who are giants. And I find so many comparisons to One Piece, and I was like, what if like that the Lunarians, they're connected to the Nephilim? What if the Lunarians are like the offspring of devils and like the moon people, like the Skypians, Shandians, and like I say like they brought knowledge, and then they got the knowledge of the gods and the knowledge of the people of the moon, the technology, like, and then Emu would always wipe them out because Emu didn't like with God didn't like how gods were breeding with humans and creating a race, so God wiped them out. Emu may have done the same thing, wiped them out, and Emu created the cycle where they would come back again, civilization would rise up, Emu would wipe them out again. And when Emu wiped out the ancient kingdom, that wasn't the first time. That was maybe like the third ancient kingdom or fourth. And they would always leave fragments of the past. And this time was poneglyphs. They would always find it's a complete cycle going in circles.
See, I love, dude, the cycle thing is like, I think that's probably one of the best theories in the entire community. Like it is just perfect and it fits with everything. Have you looked into Toki at all, by the way?
A little bit.
Fruit?
I keep going to Toki, but there's not really like just literally from my new video, I was like, should I talk about Toki? And I was looking the last thing she said about how you don't see the moon. I forgot what, like about the scabbards coming or people coming to save in 20 years in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, Toki's really interesting. Like we don't know anything about where she's from.
Exactly. Well, we know that she's somewhere like right after the Void Century, or like
towards
the end of it.
Oda answered SBS. The exact age of Toki is 830 years. She died at 30 years old, but she's 830 years old. That's the date.
Okay, so she was she was born at so she's from the end of the Void Century then, or like just So, I think that she actually, me and Kube have talked about this a lot lately, is that she spread the poneglyphs throughout time, and that's why it took so long for even Roger to find the One Piece, is because no one had all four. It's just the way she is, man. Like, and she had to have known that she needed to show up in Wano exactly 20 years before everything happened with Kaido.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane. Toki, I feel like just from the little bits you've talked about with your new video, I'm glad you said you like have looked into her, because like that sounds like it'd be right up its alley.
Yeah. Do you think anyone else has her devil fruit right now, or you think she's still alive? Because that's a busted fruit.
Dude,
like imagine like, we'll go to a
dude.
future arc and all of a sudden Toki just appears out of nowhere, like, oh, you were alive this whole time. What the?
Yeah, like Well, I give it a, like, I won't lie, for Devil Fruit rankings, I give it a 6 out of 10, but it's because of, like, it would take so much to master that Devil Fruit. But if you could master it, you could do some broken shit. Like, you could flash 6 seconds or like 0.6 seconds forward in time and dodge an enemy's attack completely and be behind them somehow. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can move through time. Like,
you could probably
Jesus,
permanently age someone. Like, Bonnie's
Exactly.
like full power. Oh, I guess, yeah, also, what's her name? Shinobu's also like a better version of Shinobu and Bonnie's power.
yeah, like, it's insane.
He could make objects old.
I mean, I always tell people, if you think about it, and the first time Toki introduced herself with her power, she said, "I have the power to Toki Toki no Mi." Never said about eating the Toki Toki no Mi. She said, "I have the power." So, like, I find it very interesting that also her name is the name of her power. So
Yeah,
that's why I love Toki, because I think that it's such a lore dump. There isn't much like on panel, but if you analyze her, it's very interesting.
One thing about Toki, I'm always thinking about, like, it never leaves my head, is they were on Roger's crew, right? On their ship, bunch of guys on the ship. Were they all listening into like Odin and Toki making Momonosuke and Hiyori? Were they like listening? Like,
I think they were busy themselves, the Roger parts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they were busy themselves.
Using their observation hockey to listen.
So actually, I know Lucas and Fritz has heard me many times, and Andy off stream. When it's also for chat, and I always found it very interesting because I actually analyzed Toki, and it feels like she's restless on Whitebeard's ship, and she's relaxed on Roger's ship. So I'm wondering if one of the things why Toki was sent to the future is she was the only one who had the information about the new name of the Nika fruit. Because it's interesting that the one person who was able to clock in and knew the most of it was the apprentice of that ship, Shanks. So I'm wondering if that's why no one could find it for 800 years, because that extra information was given only to Toki, like only Toki had it. And that person just left the timeline, so you can, you know what I mean?
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
So that's my thing. I think it has never had to be written. So I'm wondering what if it's Toki. And what's interesting enough is the only person that we never see Toki speaking to, like on panel, is Roger.
Yeah,
that is true. I never thought about. Yeah, she never really does talk to Roger. I don't think. Yeah, they never did interact.
Maybe they did though, and we just haven't seen it yet. You know, that's the
Yeah.
beauty of One Piece, is like we can get a random flashback that we think is going to be insignificant or like going to be cool, but like, and then the next thing you know, it's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I
and
agree.
another fat thing that I found really interesting was like back in Skypiea, Enno was so set on going to Fairyverse. I guess he was told stories when he was younger. People from Skypiea, Burka, whatever, would talk about this place of massive Earth, and he assumed it was on the moon. But what if? And they said it was like a land. It was where gods were, a land of gods. What if it was? Yeah. What if it was the red? What if they were just talking about the red line? Because above the red line, his literally gods were where the Gorosei are, and where the celestial dragons are.
And an
And I was like,
endless
what?
amount of land in a circle.
Yeah, he was just wrong. They've all been living in Skypiea their whole lives. They don't know what the red line is. So
yeah,
maybe
and a
he was
perfect circle
wrong.
would be endless. So it's Fairyverse. Yeah, the endless birth. Like it's, I think that completely. Do you think we're gonna see Inaru back soon?
I hope so. He is like, as much as he gets countered so hard by Luffy, like 9-1 match, 10-0 matchup. Still, like, I would love to see Enno again. Like,
He's gonna
I don't
come
care
back
if he goes
mad.
good, bad, anti-hero, like whichever. I feel
He's
like
gonna come back mad that all these gods he was told about were all nothing but lies.
because thinking about it, did Enno really lose? He achieved what he wanted. Pretty much destroying Skypiea was just a little side quest for him.
That's
yeah,
true.
like he won. Then Enno was like one of the only villains that actually succeeded.
Well, yeah, he succeeded in his dream, which
Yeah.
tells me that if Skypiea is going to be as like, because obviously we're seeing a lot of Skypiea parallels in the story, and like we've all said, it's a microcosm for the full story. Does that mean that Emu will also achieve their dream at the end of the series? You think?
Well, whatever Emo's, we don't know what Emo's dream is, but possibly how Oda
Yeah,
doesn't
right.
like to get rid of villains, and like maybe even what would you say Dolphy's dream is? To take down the celestial dragons, or like he wants?
I think he just wants absolute. I think he wants absolute power.
He wants.
I think that is what the Flamingo wants.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a
I
bit
think he
like
wants to get back at the Celestial Dragons and the government. And I could see him teaming up with Luffy because they both kind of have the same goal. They achieve their dreams, but Dofi could still be evil. But like, I don't know.
He sees himself with that royal blood as that he is a superior being. Like he thinks of himself as a god
Yeah.
or a descendant of.
I honestly personally believes that I think Gorosei had chosen at a very young age or like to become holy knights, and I think Doflamingo was like because even at the young age he seemed to know a lot of stuff of how it works more than Corazon. So
That could have been why his father left Marie's Wall. If his son was chosen to be a holy knight, maybe he didn't see it as an honor but a death sentence, and he, fled.
Yeah, especially if
Having a king's
No, I was
conqueror.
just gonna say, just saying. Well, he wanted to leave so his children could have like a normal life, right?
I know in my video I took it out, but I had a part talking about Eno where he pretty much has the sign of Aries on that's his nose and like his eyebrows. He has that.
Yeah.
He has the marine symbol on him on his face. I'm like, what if there's some actually more truth to that, to his heritage or something, his bloodline?
That's interesting.
Yeah, but if you look at his eyebrows going to his nose, it's like it's an M, like horns.
Yeah. I'll say this, and this is something that I think it makes so much sense. Homing, the way he says he became human again a couple years ago when he witnessed some atrocities, that must be the family that Roger and Garb saved in God Valley.
Oh,
or Holy Knights. It has to be the Flamingo family that they saved.
It has to be.
He could open their eyes.
Yeah, he saw what the Holy Knights done. So yeah, if Doflamingo was also taken, because I'll say this, the way he assesses information, the way that Doflamingo has the 3 hockey types, he must have been like a chosen one. Like we've seen St. Carlos, like they saw at the young age he was so promising, so he was like inscripted to something. And like you said, Lucas, Homing did not want that.
Yeah. No.
And speaking of
I don't think he would.
I prefer Holy Knights over God's Knights. I don't know. I like to say Holy Knights. It sounds cooler. But I don't know if the actual translation is. But speaking of the Holy Knights, there's again in my video I mentioned one Holy Knight that's behind Garland in one panel, and they're literally wearing like a skull for their mask, and it has horns, like some kind of horn thing. Like what is up with that? Is that like they're doing something secrets behind the scenes, which again reminded me of Baphomet and the Knights Templar, which I connected to the Holy Knights.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I have actually a fun game for all of you. And I try to keep it away from Lucas to keep him very surprised. And I want to, catch him off guard. So now we've been talking about devils, yokais, demons. In terms of character, and I'll give an example. Which character you like the yokai devil trope on them? Best example is Zoro, Demon Pirate Hunter Zoro, or King of Hell, or with the Grim Reaper, or Brook being like the ferryman. Like which one of those like tropes or themes of like the underworld in a way do you like from which character you like the most?
That's a toughie. Oda does a great job of like teasing with Brook and Zoro. Zoro already is a badass, and he literally fought death itself, like in Wano. And I'd probably go with. I just feel like we haven't explored what Brook can really do. Like I feel like
Same.
Brook can do some crazy stuff. I'd go with Brook. Like we've just been teased at what he's fully capable of, and we'll have more stuff like inspirations from devils and hell for sure. But yeah, even Luffy himself too, a lot of like similarities. And then Luffy, I guess if you want to connect Hades to Satan and like the devil, like if it's their version of it, kind of somewhere. Hades is the god of the underworld, and the underworld is somewhat connected to hell. They both house souls of the dead, but they're different. And then Hades, the underworld or Hades could be connected to Thriller Bark, and there's a Hades' pet animal was the Cerberus, and we see a Cerberus in Thriller Bark. Luffy rides the Cerberus, like he tames it, and there's just a lot of the strats that parallels to Satan or the underworld, and even Nami, they call her a demon, she gets all evil flames. I know it's for comedic effect. And then Sanji too in Thriller Bark, and other times Sanji literally turns into a devil in Thriller Bark when he finds out Absalom like was gonna marry her, like peeked at Nami when she was naked. I don't know if you remember that, but he grew horns, fire in his face. He literally became like a devil, like super like Robin when she awakened her fruit or whatever powers or used her in Wano. Like I thought that was really fascinating and a tease for whatever Sanji is like.
So, what about you, Fritz, Josh, and Lucas? I know Lucas, you said Brooke as well, but you have maybe someone else that you like the whole underworld trope around them?
No, but I do have one for Purgatory that I've been thinking about lately. I think that Blackbeard represents Purgatory.
Oh, for
like
sure.
if Luffy represents like some form of heaven, and then like Brooke and Zoro characters like this represent hell, even email. Good boy. Okay. Sorry, guys. But if Blackbeard represents Purgatory and Luffy represents heaven, then Emu would represent hell or the Sea Devil or something of this effect. You know what I mean? Something interesting though that Andilex was talking about earlier about Marie Joie being the hell of the earth, that like Sabo said, right? And if Luffy is to turn the world upside down, would that make Fishman Island heaven? Because think about it, when we first see Fishman Island, it is shrouded in light, covered in this beautiful ray of light. It is the most gorgeous, pristine, like looking. It's what Marie Joie should look like. You know what I mean? Like,
I like that. Interesting, but one thing that I feel like that that might interfere with that is that, but by that time, wouldn't the fishmen already be on the surface? So there'd be no Fishman Island. It'd just be an island.
Yeah.
So it'd be like the blue sea, the all blue would be heaven itself.
But at the point that, yeah, exactly. And then like, well, the point of that too is that at that point, if the Fishman Island is on the surface, Luffy has turned the world upside down because that means he's destroyed the red line and Marie Joie is on the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah. And to answer to your thing, Lucas, to give my answer was mine. The trope I like the most is the Mihawk vampire trope. I think it's fire on him. But if you think about it, we know that in Fishman Island, who is the ancient weapon that resides there? Poseidon. And if you think about it, in Greek mythology, Poseidon both resides in the sea, but its main home is in Mount Olympus in the sky. Only Hades is purposely under thing, but Poseidon has his territory in the sea, but resides in Mount Olympus, in the heavens. So, you know, if you flip it around, what if Poseidon is supposed to be living in the heavens as well? And what's Hiroshi's dream?
To go to the surface. Yeah.
Let's go to the surface.
Well, she technically did go to Land of Gods with
exactly.
Yeah, she went to the Reverie.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
Which was, I'll still say that this was the dumbest move from Neptune. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of dumb. Yeah, after.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, horrible idea. Well, they don't know what happened with Kami and stuff.
Yeah, but remember, isn't it supposedly though? Isn't the Celestials aren't supposed to mess with the affiliated kingdoms though? Isn't that right? Like they have to give tribute to them when they're come to their islands, but aren't they supposed to like?
But I don't think was Fishman Island officially.
Yeah, it was. They were invited back to the Reverie.
Oh.
Yeah,
like to be at the Reverie, you have to be a recognized kingdom.
That's why that queen totally went with him to like negotiate and make peace.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. Let's go.
Or Hime, a real one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But listen, before you go, Josh, because we didn't hear from you, do you have a underworld trope on a character that you like that we haven't mentioned?
I don't really know what character hasn't been mentioned yet. So.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I think Rayleigh was not really mentioned. Just quickly, which
also
Rayleigh's. Yeah.
Well, kind of a change a little bit.
No, go.
With the Marine symbol, like the Marine and government symbol have so many little clues. Like I feel like Oda left years ago, like foreshadowed. But yeah, in the Marine flag, there's two. I don't know if y'all know there's the two moons, or it looks like a wrench, like below the horns, under the below the M, and like there's two moons on each side, and I thought that was really interesting. Like at first I thought it was just a wrench, but yeah, or they could be smiles. But yeah, like in Wano, what's his name? Kinemon talks about the symbol of rebellion, which is a crescent moon, and it's the crescent moon with that makes the shape of the letter C, so going pointing to the right, and the Marine symbol flag has two moons, two crescent moons, one pointing to the left and one pointing to the right. So I was thinking, what if that's just like, the Marines are here for balance, like, for balance and order, justice and order. They're here for justice and order. They are going to control everything. And I connected that to Baphomet, because in the Baphomet picture, this we see Baphomet, which is, represents balance, man and female, has the torch on his head, and the fingers, as the famous saying, as above, so below, which is two fingers pointing up and two fingers pointing down, but they're pointing at two moons, the exact same moons that are in the Marine flag, two crescent moons pointing opposite sides, again, which connects Baphomet or some kind of horned deity to the Marines. But I just found it really fascinating. And
actually, I might have something for you, because I've seen those wrench-like symbols.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, you can go wrench. Obviously, who used a wrench in the Straw Hats? Frankie, that connects to the Sunny and making the ship. But who else works on the ship? Usopp. What was his first weapon? And if you look at his slingshot, it has a wrench-like form.
Interesting.
Remember his first weapon? Yeah. His first weapon.
It does somewhat look like one, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like interesting. And if you look at deeper, if you put like if someone once did that, if you take his first slingshot, but in two times, like the Marine have to actually have two wrench as well. But if you put them together, they take the shape similar to what's his name, to Law's circle of his crew. Not the smile of his Jolly Roger, but the circle around us that makes a skull with the bars that comes out. Like there's some similarities, but yeah, it's like the Marine flag is very interesting. And did you know that there's and I think Oda showed it to us when Sabo was called Flame Emperor. I think they hinted to us to do a sword flag, because there's a Marine flag that is just weird. It's like upside down. It's a different shape. It's like you can see the symbols, yeah, and it's gonna be different. It was with the Chimusuki flag and Revolutionary flag when Sabo was called the Flame Emperor.
Oh.
You know what? Wait. You know what? I have it in my phone. I'll drop it in the chat so you can see it better. So yeah, it's like the Marine flag is very, very interesting. So I have a question. So where do you think the ceiling is when it comes to this whole yokai thing in One Piece?
I feel like it is really high, because like Oda likes combining different things, cultures, like even like all the Gorosei themselves, they're a mix of yokai, spirits, and other things. They're not just yokai. But then I think, from what I remember correctly, a yokai is like pretty much could consist of different things. Like a yokai is like it could mean like a demon. I think it could mean like other things too, not just one thing, one entity. But yeah, I feel like Oda could get really creative with it, and who knows, maybe Devil's yokai or anything may not be relevant to the plot later on. I don't know. We really don't know what's that big announcement Vegapunk's gonna say. I was really worried with my video, because I was like, oh my god, he's gonna reveal the true past, that there are devils and gods. I was so scared with the Vegapunk announcement, but it's pretty much, we're getting Namek 2.0. 10 minutes is gonna be like 30 minutes for Namek exploding. It's been already like over a month, and only like 6 minutes have passed. Probably won't get the full 10 minutes won't be done till the end of the year, probably.
They keep
we expected
they keep slowing down the progression.
They keep slowing down the progression. Yeah, we expected a tribute to Toriyama, but not like this.
They keep slowing it and slowing it and slowing it down. Soon we'll spend a year and 5 seconds, bro.
No, I think we're gonna hit Elbaf by the end of the year.
I hope so. I really hope we get to Elbaf. And most of all, I want Usopp to be on Elbaf.
Oh, he's got to be. He's got to be.
Hey, that's actually where I was going to ask you next is, what your thoughts on Elbaf are. Yeah,
Elbaf and Usopp. I had this little interesting theory about Usopp in my Kings of Comedy video, and my theory that I think the Soga King mask is actually like a spirit, an entity that possessed it. And whenever Usopp wears it, it possesses him, because when Usopp wears it, there's someone talking to him in the mask. The mask talks to him literally, like he's talking to It's the Usoga King guy voice talking to Usopp, like they're having interactions with each other. It's in the manga and the anime. And I brought up how maybe this Oda got inspired by the movie and the comic The Mask, which huge influence already to Gear 5 Luffy, like for sure. But what about also the mask itself? The mask in the movie was Loki's mask. And Loki is what the Prince of Elbaf, connected to Elbaf. And yeah, whenever Usopp wears it, he gets possessed by Loki. Loki found somebody, but yeah, pretty much that mask makes pretty much your dreams come true, your wildest desires when Dream Carrier put it on. Well, when Usopp wears the mask, he becomes a brave warrior of the sea, his dream. So that mask pretty much makes he was able to take down Perona, burn the government flag, join the Straw Hats again, pretty much. Like mask helped him.
He has to complete his dream for sure.
Yeah. And then once you get to Elbaf, maybe they're gonna be like, "Oh, you have that mask," but yeah, back to that mask. Usopp got it from the sea train going to Eni's lobby, and it was in a briefcase, like in there. The CP9 had it, and I was like seeing a lot of parallels to Usopp's dad, who was also in a crew that interacted with the CP9 to take the Hito no Mi Maru Nika fruit. He stole it from Husu. And Husu got pretty much kicked out, went to jail. And you know who else? Exact same thing pretty much happened. But instead of Husu, it was Nero. And he got kicked out of CP9. I don't know where Nero is now. But yeah, so Usopp's dad.
Nero got punked on, bro. I'm rereading that part right now.
Usopp's dad is Shang's crew. They stole something from CP9. Usopp, it was with Luffy. They stole something from CP9. 2 CP9 agents got effed up. So yeah, the parallels are super obvious, and yeah.
What's crazy about the masks is what it looks like. It looks like a sun. Like it literally is a mask who would be a servant to Nika. Like
which is like the Elbaf guys. They have festivals for the sun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Maybe it's a toy festival mask, and it fits Usopp because it'd be like toy size to a giant. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the
it's
Giants,
or a decoration or something like that.
The Giants haven't seen him wear the mask yet either. I really hope he brings out that mask, because the cross Chopper got from Usopp, I think from Thriller Bark, that same cross he uses to get to on people.
Oh, they have. They've seen that mask.
Yeah, he brings it back.
Two of them have on any lobby.
Oh, they have. Oh, that's right. But yeah, Chopper uses that same cross he got from Usopp post time skip on Punk Hazard against Kinemon. He thought Kinemon was possessed by an evil spirit, and he must not. Yeah, so yeah, they got their same items. So I'm pretty sure Usopp has the Soga King mask still somewhere
out there. He has. Yeah. See, I think in Elbaf, Usopp is definitely getting my headcanon. He's lifted Mjolnir.
Oh yeah, some kind of Norse mythology weapon reference for sure. Usopp's gonna get something like that. Mjolnir.
Well, because look at how many times he's brought out a 10,000 ton hammer. Like even like the biggest one he uses against Perona that's fake. That would be like a giant sized hammer. Like, you know what I mean? Like that a giant could use realistically.
They're gonna give him his flowers, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's gonna fucking like lift a giant. Like there's gonna be an old fucking hammer and it's gonna be like no one's lifted it here. Usopp's gonna walk up and pick it up.
Usopp God is gonna become a literal thing. Like it's no longer myth and legend. He will become the man.
Would you say the Giants, like their race is really gullible? Like Oimu and Kashi believe the government and they're working. But
but not as gullible as Tentatas.
So do you? Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. But do you think Usopp's gonna fool the Giants of Elbaf by bringing out his 10-ton hammer blow up thing, and they're gonna see him wield it, and they're like, "Oh my fucking god!" But yeah, we saw Usopp. He used it on Mr. 4, and he somehow hurt Mr. 4. Mr. 4, I think Usopp was able to pretty much put Conqueror's Haki into objects and hurt people with his.
I think his lies. I think are becoming because that was when I was watching Alabasta for the first time. That was one of the first times I was like, is his lies coming true? Like, did the guy believe he was gonna get hit by a 10-ton hammer, so he got hit by a 10-ton hammer? Like, exactly.
Well, so like if you say that, that's also like when Jinbei stood up to Big Mom. He didn't believe
Exactly.
or he didn't fear her, so she couldn't
Yeah.
do anything to him. But
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
fear that he ensues into other people
Oh,
incapacitates them.
Is this how I find out that you've seen the peakest, like one of the peakest fucking Jinbei moments, man?
Yeah.
Is on
Oh yeah,
stream.
I
Oh
didn't
my
tell you.
God, let's go.
He's further in Whole Cake. Yeah, I forgot to tell you. He's
Let's
further in
go,
Whole Cake.
dude. It's my favorite Jinbei moment. It's so good.
But like that
But yeah, you're
fear,
right.
that fears he does not fear Big Mom in that capacity, so she's unable to do anything to him. But Usopp keeps striking literal fear into people, and they are incapacitated almost every time.
Yeah, Perona, for example, yeah, she thought she got hit by the hammer, and she literally passed out after he used her fear of bugs.
This is why I believe that's why Saturn knows Zoro's first move was to scare people. I think in One Piece, if you create certain emotion, and that's the emotion, like think about it, right? Hancock, her fruit works on lust for her. If you lust her, it works. If you don't lust on her, you don't lust for her, nothing happens. I think emotion have that effect. You have a certain emotion that a person has, and if you can instill it to someone else, you become a god to them.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't do anything.
Usopp, he gets to their emotions. Like he's same thing with like his Usopp spell. Like he does it on in Skype here. He does Usopp. I think Usopp spell, and he talks about things in front of Nami and Enel, and Enel doesn't know what, like pretty much ignores them, but he actually damages Nami mentally. Nami's like, like stop. And what if it didn't work on Enel because he didn't know what he was talking about? Because they're pretty much excluded from real like stuff from down below.
Well,
Like he was talking about like nails scratching a board or something. I don't know what.
his
And maybe Enel didn't know
persuasion
what he was talking
abilities are like stout, and from the beginning that it was building up that's what his weapon truly is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
By the way, for you guys, for those, only for us on stream, I put in the VC chat the flag that which I believe is a sword flag.
Yeah, I saw the two
Never-
swords. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, no, not the two swords. That's Shimotsuki. Look, there's the two swords, Shimotsuki. Then there's the star. Then look at the marine flag, and the anime it's more relevant. It's upside down. It's
I
actually
see.
an upside down flag.
It's like it's like two smiles, like two moons.
Yeah, an extra smile,
a
which I
quarter.
think I personally believe
The
it's a sword
mustache.
flag.
And what's the stars flag for? What do you think? It's just something to fill up.
The star flag, we don't know where it comes from. I mean, it's the same star that Frankie has on his
Yeah.
shirt all the time, but we don't know where it comes from. Because those basically were the three flags, were the revolutionary flag where you could tell when Sabo was named Flame Emperor, which I don't think is a coincidence.
Interesting. Yeah, nice catch with that little flags right there. That is
Hey
awesome.
man, listen, I have to be on top of my game when I'm on TLA because or else I'll get slandered. I'm with goats.
He's on
And
top
Fritz.
of his
No, I'm just
game.
kidding.
His game has
Just
never
kidding.
been better before.
On top of his game. He's never been French. Perfect person.
But honestly, you know what, guys? And because I know that Fritz and Lucas are, and we've got also the musician of the last arc here. I know those who are big into music. The stuff about emotions, about the fear and stuff like that. It kind of makes me think of how music can change someone's mood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like music can
Yeah.
take out someone from a depression just by hearing a great tune.
Well, as we've
that-
seen,
Brooke did that in Fishman Island. He pretty much
Yeah.
made the guys like
Exactly.
change sides, pretty much. Like
and in Fishman Island, when they were trying to get to the surface again and go into the new world, he played for the island wells, and they all took them to the right stream to
Bro.
get out of Fishman Island.
Brooke, when he's playing and he takes down the chess pieces when he's trying to get back on the Sunny in Whole Cake, he is a perfect match for them, and is even regarded. He is told that he's a perfect match for them. Like it
Yeah.
literally affects them. He's like, super
He affects
effective
their
damage.
soul.
Super effective damage.
But yeah, that whole thing about emotions, like messing with people, damage them. I go super into detail about that in my Kings of Comedy video. Like I really talk about with Usopp and but yeah, the back with the whole emotion things, like I think what Kube was saying about Saturn, like getting the fear, and that's what probably makes them they can't move when he's in their presence. What if it doesn't affect Luffy because he's not scared of spiders or bugs? He collects them. And He's known to like he likes to
Or-
collect beetles or something.
Or maybe he's so Joy Boy-esque in his mind, you know, like it's a
That's
bit
it,
like you know when after you get an because someone made that correlation the first time they saw the Gear 5 on a TikTok. It was before TLA, so it was sad times, but you know, I'm living better times now. He said that it kind of makes us look like post-operation when you have the morphine into your system, the way he's all loopy and laughing and getting back up immediately, not feeling the pain, but you know what I mean, and having then getting the morphine out of their system and then feeling all of the drawbacks coming in once. So maybe that's
That comment.
3-Day in the chat. Yeah, can't wait to see Usopp use all the stuff he tried to use against Brook when they first met to ward off evil. What if it actually works on the Gorosei?
Dude, that would be hilarious. Dude,
That'd
imagine
be
he
awesome,
throws
yeah.
his holy water on one of them and they go, my eyes! My eyes
Yeah.
are...
Comically, it would fit well
He's
with
blinding me!
with Luffy Gear 5 and the comedy there. I think it would pair very well.
Yeah, the irony, because that's the government symbol across, but they're using it to like get the people's suspicion about who they really are.
But the
It would
government,
be- well,
the government
look,
symbol
that
isn't
could be
really
the-
a cross though, because lately from what I've seen, it is literally a symbol of the cardinal points, the northern, southern, eastern, western directions, all serving a center would be Marie Joie. Like it might be a cross to some people, but it's sinister in its own right.
Oh yeah, like I think Spandam, Spandam, that guy from Ennie's Lobby, the guy that looks like Mankind with the leather mask face thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
bro.
He explains. I think he's the first character to actually say what the government flag represents. Yeah, he says it's the blues, the east, west, north, Grand Line or
Yeah.
whatever. Like yeah.
Guys, actually, it's very interesting. What if that's the reason why all pirates have cross on their flags? Like it could ward off certain stuff the Gorosei and Imu can do, because that's what they
Well, I
use
was
on Brook.
thinking,
Yeah. Oh,
What
yeah,
if-
that's true.
what if Usopp and Luffy could like combo attack because of Nika's ability to just create and conjure things? Usopp's lies and like the things he would be doing against the Gorosei, showing them this cross and stuff, could become true because Luffy believes in him.
Bro.
Yeah, so,
It's like a combo attack. So like Luffy's like believing that Usopp can do this with this cross, so it's burning the Gorosei. Like, it's,
Yeah, like Luffy really thinks Soga King's the real thing. What if Soga King appears
Yeah.
again? And yeah, like he really
Oh,
is the
dude.
Sniper King, and he does what he's like above and beyond than Usopp. Like, because yeah, they're two different people. Or like,
Bro.
yeah, we
like,
don't need a time skip because
Luffy
can
actually
make
makes the
his
10-ton
crew
hammer a real
okay.
10-ton hammer with Usopp.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that would be insane, man.
Because yeah, Luffy believes it. Usopp Luffy and Chopper fall for whatever Usopp says all the time. They always believe him. So yeah.
Guys, I got to shout out real quick. John Sherrod in the chat on all social medias. He's also now John Sherrod on TikTok.
Phenomenal
big
guy.
fan.
Phenomenal guy.
Phenomenal guy. I don't like that guy though. Get his jacket, push him out in the cold. We don't like him. Love John Sherrod though. Great guy. Continue.
Oh, it's too fun.
Actually,
It
it's very interesting, and that's why honestly I'm very curious on characters like Usopp and Buggy for the Gorosei and Imu, because think about it, people call them Messiah gods, and they are literally being proud of it. And we still haven't seen interaction, but what if they're the one that because what is the one thing that angers God the most is false gods, people who act like they're God themselves. Like stories in all those myths ends very badly for those people.
Yeah, I think there's like in the world of One Piece, there's actual gods, devils, and there's like people impersonating gods like the celestial dragons. There's a mix of both. Yeah, for sure. Like, and but yeah, like the whole thing, like in my video, I was talking about like how people would they would pray to a god, and yeah, the gods from up above would hear the people. That was like they would hear these prayers, these wishes, and they would come down. And since the gods would leave Godland or like up there in the clouds, they would leave it. They would pretty much break taboo, and they would grow horns, and their wings would turn black. And yeah, they were worshiping. They pretty much became devils after that, or something. I was talking about that in my video. Really, if you watch it, I go full into detail about that with good visuals.
What if it's similar to Nightmare Luffy? Like the gods,
Oh.
like something part of them lost, and then they start becoming like yokais instead.
That too, yeah.
Taking the shape of yokais, because that's what happened to Luffy. He lost his shadow, and then
I do think that
That is true. Yeah.
Thriller Bark will come into play with the battle between
for sure
Luffy and Emu, but I think that Emu will absorb the 5 Gorosei members to become a perfect being kind of thing. And then it'll sing the perfect Cell song from TFS abridged. It'll be like a moment in time.
Or like the Gorosei could just be like, you know, like in Harry Potter, like Voldemort has all those Horcruxes. Like the Gorosei could be his Horcruxes. And yeah, he puts them
like pieces of Emu, because Emu is tiny.
I'm just waiting for the moment
tiny.
that all the Straw Hats are walking up and it's going dun 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 dun. They're just gonna kill them all, bro. Just get it done. Looking forward to it.
You hear overtaken and you're like, it's finally time.
Yeah, bro. But overtaken plus like 10 more levels of overtaken.
Wait, oh god, I can't spoil that for you. Fritz, you haven't heard that. I just realized Freedy hasn't heard the Drums of Liberation
yes,
in
I
the
have.
series yet.
You freaking spoiling. All right, I'm gonna shut up now.
Actually, Lucas, you know why I agree with you with Solar Bark? And just think of this, right? Oda is very careful on the fights that Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji have.
Yes.
Think of Zoro's fight. With a zombie vampire that seemed to be connected to Wano. No Zoro. Like literally foreshadowing for Zoro versus Zoro as well.
He wasn't a vampire. Ryuma wasn't a vampire.
I mean, he was a zombie.
He was a zombie for sure, but
an undead life form.
I see what you're saying, though. An undead life form for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why I said vampire. I meant a zombie. Yeah, undead. You know, which is interesting.
Yeah.
It
is interesting.
There's actually a volume cover, or no, a cover page of Luffy as a vampire drinking, I think, a cup of blood, a cup of wine, the blood of God. I don't know.
It has to be blood.
The blood of God.
I mean,
he has like literally a cup of it in his hand.
I mean, if you think about it, what did Jesus say? Drink this wine, it's my blood. Like it's my blood. So
he's
kind of makes sense, you know? Yeah, man. And so I'm just gonna bring this up here to John Sherrod, who's been calling 3-Day his wifey. Just remember that 3-Day is preserving herself for Nika. She deserves the sun god.
John Sherrod, that would be a great stream, a wonderful stream. We need a Lucas Trump stream, absolutely, 100%, a million streams.
There's like a whole other conversation going on in the chat with Bread.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
It's been since the beginning of the stream. It has not stopped. I don't know what to do anymore about it, guys.
We even had a poll. We had a poll about bread, all right?
About bread, yeah.
We can't stop the baking.
The bread.
You can't stop. It's the baconing.
The bread stream is real, dude. It's absolutely real. The bread stream, wonderful stream.
Absolutely real. The bread Trump stream, it's coming.
Yeah.
Also, Corazon doesn't like bread either, and I was like, I had it in my video, but I took it out, and I'm like, maybe the reason why Corazon doesn't like bread is because, you know, like he always thought he knows how gods can be, like the celestial dragons, how corrupt they are, because he was one. And he could connect it to the whole communion, like you're eating the bread of God, the body of God. And he's like, "Fuck, f that! Like, I don't want anything to do with gods. Like, I know how they are." So he does. That's why he doesn't like bread. That's what I was like, I don't know. That's the lot. I took it out. I omitted
it.
But yeah, the food thing is very weird in One Piece, and also like if you think about it, Sanji was like the first. If I'm not mistaken, he was one of the first Straw Hat because Frankie is cyborg, so you cannot call him like, you know, full human. But what's interesting is Sanji is actually scared of a spider. He has an irrational fear of spider. So
that could be that could be why Sanji can't move, because Oda has clearly stated that Sanji was stuck at one point in Egghead.
Yeah.
He's afraid of bugs in general, isn't he?
Yeah. Nami is
when him and Nami are in the woods. Yeah,
him
and Nami are in the woods. Yeah, they are terrified of bugs.
Yeah.
So
it kind of makes you think that I think there's a reason why Oda keeps giving us SBS or like, you know, those Vythor card with the stuff that they like and dislike. It has to be connected.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think all that stuff's super important. Like in my video, the the volume note about him talking about since the dawn of time he wished people had horns or whatever, like that. I like that. Oh, I just thought that was super fascinating. He says some very crazy, wild things that could be foreshadowing the story, and yeah, he says it for a reason. Oh,
Yeah,
and then
honestly.
there was another note I mentioned in my video about how he talks about the mother of humanity, which first of all you might think, oh, who could the mother of humanity be? What, the green bull's fruit? Could that be emu or something? And like, yeah, I was like, yeah, that could maybe be emu. And I was talking about the mother of humanity. And he talks about how he was reading in real life, like how he thinks it's fascinating how everybody's blood is more like connected to one woman from a long time ago from Africa. And I'm like, well, what if that could be mean? Like, what if he's talking about emu? Since we know emu's been around for years, pretty much. Ivan talked about how emu was like back from the Neurona family, which was what 800 years ago, and so yeah, emu's old. Confirmation. And what if emu's older than that? And emu's been around since the beginning of time, and everybody is related to emu. Emu's mother nature, mother of humanity. And then yeah, Oda gives us a depiction of what he think the mother of humanity looks like, and it's like a really buff chick with like a green afro kind of, with the helmet that has a crescent moon on it. And then I was connecting that depiction of that to emu with because I talked about the monad symbol, which is the supreme god, or the supreme god with Yaldabaoth, the creator of all. And there's a symbol depicting the monad, and it's like a cross with the Aries sign and a crescent moon on top, and it kind of looks like the Pokemon Unknown. Or somebody on my video said, "Oh, that looks like a Cyclops." But yeah, like they're all the symbols, or like in the bottom you see, like I wish I could pull up the symbol, but yeah, like in the I'll share it in the chat in a little bit. But in the symbol we get a circle, and then below the circle is a cross, and then below that cross is the Aries symbol. And I'm like, oh, okay, there's the marine sign, there's the government symbol, and then the circle represents the sun. Oh, the sun god. And then above it is the crescent moon. And then the crescent moon with the circle connected represents Taurus. And you know whose zodiac sign is Taurus? Luffy. That's his birthday. Yeah.
Interesting.
So, and I'm like, oh, so all of it together represents the true god, the sun god. I'm like, oh, but what if like, emu's the false one? It could also mean emu. But also, since there's a circle and a cross below the circle, like, oh, that's the female symbol. Could that mean like confirmation emu's a mother, a female, a woman? And like, yeah, like I'll see if I could find it and I'll share it in the chat right
actually,
now.
I like that also you brought up Africa, because it's something like people don't know that, and it's the Roman who changed the name. But before the Roman did change it, I think it's Al-Kabulan, just Al-Kabulani. Basically, the original name for Africa actually means mother of mankind or Garden of Eden.
Oh yeah,
the continent itself. It was
Cube
changed by the Romans.
I have to go, guys. I'll give you 1 second. Yeah, I gotta go. I just want to say thanks again for Alias being here and stuff. It's been an amazing stream. We've been cooking, and I want you boys to continue cooking. Yeah, it's been a great time. But yeah, I love everybody. You guys have a good night. And to all the goats cooking in chat, keep up the bread puns. I am madly in love with them.
Thank you.
I'll talk to y'all later.
Thank you, Straw Hat, for being here.
Yes, sir.
So absolutely.
But yeah,
continue what you were saying.
Oh yeah, but pretty much the symbol I shared in the chat, that monad symbol, you're able to pretty much change the like rearrange it, and as you rearrange it, you get the zodiac signs for, or you get the signs for the other planets: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. You're able to get all those symbols off that monad symbol, and I'm like, oh, there's the Gorosei, and that's emu, and I thought that was super fascinating. I was like, I got to share this in my video.
So as we get close to wrapping this up, I'd like to ask you, like, with the dark narrative that we're getting pushed towards, like the darker and darker every time that something's revealed, what expectations do you have coming here within the next chapters and some of these reveals that you think we might be having?
Well, I kind of briefly touched up on it earlier. What I was saying is, well, because we're like in a 10-minute timer, and I think only 4 minutes have passed in the past 2 months. I think we're gonna get the next, probably next year and a half, we're gonna get the rest of those 6 minutes, and that big reveal is gonna break the internet. Like, I don't know if we're gonna get like that's gonna be the next biggest, whatever Vegapunk says, if it goes through, And I think they might somehow be able to reveal the true forms of the Gorosei as well, and the whole world's gonna see, and the whole world's gonna go into panic and go crazy, and everyone's gonna start picking sides, like Cross-Guild, the government, the Straw Hat Alliance. Like it's gonna go the world's gonna go nuts, and things are gonna be the same. It already kind of is, and I think the moment that announcement goes through,
I really feel
everything's
that.
gonna change.
I really feel that. I think the lines are going to disappear. I mean, it's going to be us versus them kind of situation for sure.
Yeah. Like I said, we already got a taste of it with Cross-Guild. Like people are
Absolutely.
siding with Buggy over the government, but we're gonna get that on a larger scale after
Bro.
they see. Yeah.
Cube.
Yeah. What does Vegapunk know? He knows everything. So yeah.
Honestly, for me,
yeah.
when it comes to everything, in terms of the underworld stuff what we're getting, honestly, it's a very new territory because it does seem that the Gorosei are different than Devil Fruits. But the one thing I'm very curious is how is Kuma's flashback going to have, because they kept showing Kuma's flashback, but they skipped only 10 years, and that's a timeline where you get Fisher Tiger, you get those story of Hancock being a slave, all the stuff that most like the Cecil Dragon are guilty of in the Gorosei. So I'm wondering if the message and Kuma's memories are going to be connected. Seeing it from the eyes of the tyrant that they call the tyrant, you know?
Interesting.
What happened? But yeah, because the underworld stuff is just, it's new territory. I mean, I think other than Fritz and TLA had the most outside knowledge beforehand. So I think he maybe like could see some of the stuff coming, but my mind's been blown. Pause since we've been seeing the Gorosei.
I can't say that there's like things that I know that were gonna happen or expected, but there are things that are to read into. Like one of my only and first videos for like theory videos for Brooke, and like his relevance to the summoning circles, like the difference between the circle that he was summoned to or intercepted by versus like what the Gorosei are literally been summoned into. Like one of the major differences is the number of points, and 8-pointed 2 squares on top of each other. They're more of an equivalent exchange rather than like the pentagrams and the 5 points that the Gorosei have been summoned into, who have had, like, those are the ones that represent and are dealt with costs. And literally there was a cost when Saturn was summoned in, and all the Marines that were warned to look away, who were absorbed and pretty much used and purged at that very time that he was summoned. There's just some stuff into that. Like there's some longer-winded ways to get into it, but to keep it short, yeah, that there are a lot of things to look forward to coming, like especially with the other Gorosei being summoned in. It's too set up too well.
Yeah, man, it's like I said, it's really interesting because it's an approach that we don't really see that often on how he does it. When you think about it, he's been introducing it since, well, Fritz and I have been talking about it yesterday when people are kind of wondering, oh, where is Oda going to gods and devils? Literally the name of Luffy's power, a devil fruit. No, I mean, like it's
been
at the start of the story.
It's been a day one thing, and like we were saying yesterday, people are like so confused or worried about bringing in another form of power scale into the world, where like the devil fruits or the hockey, that's always been in there, like the dark and black magic of it all. It's always been there, so there hasn't been a change in the power scale at all.
I agree. It's
I finally shared my bread pun. I finally came up with one. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna add something more.
All right. It's been wonderful having you, AndileX. You've been great, dude. Everything you've been cooking has been on the nose. Absolutely wonderful. Straw Hat in here. You guys just bouncing off each other with the Faust and just the darker side of things. It's been absolutely wonderful having you here. Is there anything else you want to push before we wrap this up?
Well, I'm very glad that bread is being relevant right now, because while making the video, I was worried that the bread was going to be too off topic.
No.
And the whole pan thing. And I'm glad I included it, because the chat seems to love bread, and we started the whole bread conversation. So yeah, I'm glad I added bread to it.
The bread piece is real.
All right. Do you want to go ahead, push your socials? Cube, you, Andy, Josh. We've had a wonderful time here. I'm gonna go ahead and sign us off. I'm Fritz the Ditz. I've just shipwrighted last arc. Just thankful to be here with all you guys. You guys want to go ahead and sign yourselves off, and it's just been great.
Yeah, I'll go first. My name is StarTomatoAndilex. I want a big shout out to the last arc. Thank you for inviting me. It was a blast. I loved cooking with all of y'all, especially Straw Hat Lucas. We were talking about our theories, comparing them. Great. We had similar ideas. And don't forget to like and subscribe, or like the stream and subscribe to the last arc, and subscribe to my channel, StarTomatoAndilex. I upload live reactions and One Piece theories. It would mean the world to me if you get those numbers up.
You can
All
find
right,
him in the
whoever can-
chat and in the description as well. Should be linked there, added at. So, Cube.
So honestly, thank you for Andy. Like for those who don't know, Andy's a really close friend to the TLA, to the channel. So we're finally happy that he was able to get his video out, so we can finally get him on, like to really like talk. Because every time we miss the ball on his videos, we get him on like at the time when he hasn't released a video like since a couple of weeks. So we're very happy about that. You know, honestly, it'll be the world for me and for TLA that you just go like and subscribe for Andy. You should know that Andy also does his chapter reaction. TLA doesn't do it, but Andy does it. I think a day after the TCB, like the unofficial, comes out. So if it's on a Friday, he usually does it Friday or Saturday. So it'd be great for you guys to at least to pull up, you know, give some support, because Andy is a hustler. He is a great content creator. He's a great theorist. You know, he's the goat. He's a goat.
Sorry.
So yeah, and I appreciate for everyone for being here.
Josh, do you have any final comments?
I'm glad to be baking in chat.
He's be baking in chat. Did I interrupt you, Andy? Do you have anything else?
No, just, I love what Cube said. That means a lot. Really hit me in my heart. Cube, thank you for sharing what you said. But yeah, it was a
no problem.
great stream. Shout outs to everyone that's in the chat. Shout out to Bread. I love you all. I love Bread.
Shout out to Vex in the chat. He's been cooking up some of the best bread puns this whole time. You get him cooking on these puns. You should see him when he gets cooking on the cheese. I even mentioned it, and he was like, "Man, the cheese bread is real, dude." But I'm Fritz the Ditz. We have been the last arc, and it has just been a blast. And we will see you next time.
See you
Peace,
guys.
everyone.
Peace.
Bye.